Hey guys, what's up? So when I sit here and I talk to you guys, we always have a good plan to try to educate and teach something. So we're actually changing plans today because I actually just sold a deal as I'm sitting here, and I just kind of want to go through like how that deal process was. So I text the seller rep, and when I say seller rep, it's not always the seller of the property, right? If you have a property, the person who owns the property is the actual seller. But I call the seller rep the person that got that property tied up under contract, right? And now that seller rep is trying to do what? They're trying to assign the property. So they become my seller rep. And so I sent over the seller rep, let me pull up the text, a property that they sent out for roughly around 150,000. And they sent the property out. I got an offer this morning at 137, and he said, hey, counter at 142, 143. And so I countered, and as soon as I counter, I go to the seller rep and say, hey, here's the offer. But backing up, my buyer texts me and said, hey, I'll buy this. Okay, I got that text from the buyer. I grab that text from the buyer, I send it to the seller rep and say, okay, seller rep, we will pay 137 for this property. He countered back and he said, hey, I will sell the property for 142. So then I went back to the buyer and said, hey, we can do 142. And they said, okay, great. We will take it at 142. So the next step after someone says, hey, I'll take the property, is they need to wire the EMD or earnest money deposit immediately to title to secure that property. In the meantime, we will start working on the contracts to get those over. And so just because you sold a property doesn't mean, hey, you're done, things are great. You got to get the money wired and you got to send them a contract and get that executed. And it's just very timely because always in this industry, the first EMD typically gets it. Just because we, as buyers, we want to make sure the buyers are super serious and that they're ready and they're going to wire the EMD ASAP. And so you want to know the different title companies and have a relationship with the different escrow officers that these files are opened up with, and also have their earnest money wire information on hand, because it's just so important that you have that so the wire can get sent. So just explaining a little bit. So I just got another text as we're talking. Someone offered $190,000 on a property earlier, and this was from a buyer. I went to the seller rep and said, hey, Mr. Seller Rep, we got a $190,000 offer on this property. The seller rep then said, hey, I will take 200 for the property. So I went back to the buyer and said, hey, this property, he will take 200. And so just barely, the buyer said counter back at 193. So we're gonna counter back and we'll go back and forth and hopefully land a deal. So this is a little bit of the deal structure and kind of what I do with text messages day to day, so many times. So I hope this helps you guys. Go out there, sell a property, make something happen, and have yourself a great day. Thank you so much.